guys, it's Thursday, Friday here at Everyday Struggle, our favorite day of the week. Nadeska with my guys Akademiks and Wayno.
Yeah, you just jumped into it today. You can't wait to get out of here. What's up?
That's only the truth. I'm ready to go home.
I want to do extra day. What's good? I got energy, man. What's poppin'?
Yo, you're welcome.
Wayno wants to sign a new ass contract, man, because I follow my contract to the T, man. This nigga's trying to do extra days and shit. When I get an extra day paycheck, maybe.
Heard you.
I'm tired though. I don't know, for some reason.
No, that's the thing. I just feel exhausted.
I was trying to watch that Fire Festival, as I was telling y'all before, again. And I fell asleep before I could get to Wayno's favorite part.
That's not. Oh, see, you see, this is what I'm saying. That's the way niggas be wording shit.
Wayno had a favorite part. The nigga showed me the part on his phone. He said, "Yo, check this part out, bro."
That was crazy.
That's facts.
It was crazy.
Oh
it
my
was crazy.
God.
Pause. But see, this is what I'm saying. This is why the misconstrued things happen, because how people word shit. But
I'm just done talking for the week. I had enough of the internet, man. Jesus. But I'm excited. J. Cole, we know he was going to go on another run this year. Him and the whole Dreamville team feels like we're at the beginning right now. So Revenge of the Dreamers 3 is coming at some point. He's also working on a new album. And last night we got a new single called Middle Child. I feel like this is a unanimously great song, right? Even for people who usually give Cole a hard time. He addresses a lot of things on here, being in the middle generation, showing love to a lot of people, like saying he spoke to Kodak and wish he had more guidance. Maybe some slight jabs at people like Kanye, et cetera, et cetera. What'd you guys think?
He always takes jabs at Kanye. But I think it's good that how he leaves it up there for people to interpret it how they want. Because you could probably say Kanye, but then you could, like you said, if he has a list, you could go down the line of people that Cole might be talking about.
Yeah, it's essentially a lot of talking about people clout chasing instead of putting time into the craft.
But what's really important about this record is the things that y'all talked about when he dropped his album and said he needed to get off his own beats, right? And I mean, T Minus, I'm happy to see T Minus on it, because after I'm on one and swimming pools with Kendrick and shit, he had said that he was gonna retire some shit. I don't know if he was going through something, but he's a really great producer, not a beat maker. And it's good to see them work together. But he always gives us something when he talking shit like False Prophets, Fire Squad. I think that, and we said it before, we said it on the award show, that this gonna be a year for Dreamville. It's gonna be a year for Dreamville. I'm fucking with it.
Yeah, I don't know where the mentality change came with Cole, but as I was telling y'all before we start airing, it was a point that I felt like he was just kind of very comfortable and complacent. And complacency, it didn't feel like he was going for the throne.
I just don't know that you're using the right words.
Yeah.
Complacent.
Nah, complacent.
Why do you feel like he was complacent?
He was complacent, just kind of being where he was ranked and where he was regarded in hip hop. Now I hear this nigga talking the greatest talk and all that. Feels like he wants more, and also it feels even more inspired than before. It feels like he had something to prove. Before, he didn't feel like he had shit to prove.
What do you feel like he had to prove at that point? Was he already considered to be one of the greatest?
Yeah, but I mean, was he considered?
You're talking about the point. So Cole always like fades back, right? So he'll disappear, he'll drop a project and vanish. He's not in the mix.
Because just saying the greatest.
All right, so name a couple names that we're comparing him to.
No, he's always in that top three. Him, Kendrick, Cole.
Okay, so what do you have to?
And he ain't never been regarded at the top of that. He's somewhere in the middle. Sometimes, a lot of times, three. And he always felt okay with in the world of, is it Drake or Kendrick? He's always been cool with, like, sometimes he's not in that convo.
It just sounds like he never liked some of the things like you have to do around the music. I see what you mean, but I don't know if complacent is the word.
Well, I say this. I feel like he was uninspired, right? Okay. I feel like he was uninspired. I think that when you win as big as he's won, like I don't want to give him Michael. You know how I am with basketball analogies and shit. But like when Michael Jordan won his first 3 titles, and he was like, "All right, what else could I do? Like I've already won on the highest level 3 times in a row." And I feel like he just had so many wins for himself individually that he just was like kind of uninspired. Now you see him like, I don't know if everybody remember, but in like December, him and Drake was in the rave together. You know what I mean? Riding around, listening to music, building. We got Cole out the house, and that's what's most important. Everybody had this thing where he's in the crib, he's off of the world, he's disconnected. No, he's been paying attention, and I think he just picked his spot for now, because it's wide open. It's wide open. And like he said, I put the rollie back on. Like I just think that him being around I think him just being around certain other artists just inspired him to say, yo, I want to have fun again. And I think now it's fun again for him.
And I guess that's what I'm saying, mentality change. I'm just wondering what sparked it. Like,
I think it's I think it's a multitude of things. I think it's, you know, putting out such a great album, which I think KOD is a really, really great album. I think it's very slept on. I think if you listen to it the first time, you like, oh, it's the same old Cole. But if you really dig into the words and dig into the meanings of what he's doing, it's really big, and people will catch on to it a little bit later. But I think just him going and doing a joint with Moneybagg Yo and saying, nah, don't send me no conscious shit. Send me some shit I could jump in your bag on. Him going and chilling with 21. Him driving from Fayetteville up to Atlanta and being in the studio with him and them sitting up talking about building for hours and then making a record. I think he's just like, all right, I'm back around my peers, and he wants to have fun. This nigga got just as much money as everybody else, if not more. He got everything everybody raps about, but now it's time for him to pop his shit again.
That's what I'm saying. Doesn't it say a lot that he can take time off, focus on his family? He got married, all this personal stuff happened. Have a child too, right? Yeah, exactly. He could fall back and then come back this strong without having to come and do a bunch of shit online to get attention.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's doing shit just in music. Like he's following some of the strategies that other artists has used in terms of collabing with certain people. Like a year ago, seeing him with Moneybagg Yo would be like, all right, that's not happening, right? Even shit, we were surprised even the fact that he sat down with Pump. You get me? But clearly, he's trying to embrace and be a part of like the community. You get me? The rap community, of course. Well,
for his past
and not only like people that rap like him.
So the past 3 albums, Forest Hills, For Your Eyes Only, and KOD, I felt like starting with Forest Hills, that was a pivotal moment for him, where he felt like he had a message to convey. For Your Eyes Only was like a more personal thing for him that he wanted to get off of his chest. KOD was something that he felt like people needed to hear. Now I feel like he wants to pop shit. Like he wants to have fun rapping again, popping shit, talking shit, and he can put a case up. Like, yeah, I'm better than a lot of niggas out here. He got the numbers. He has the hardware as far as the wins.
And he always lets us know that he's paying attention, right? So you guys are gonna complain that I'm not out here, that I'm not rapping enough with other people. Fine, let me hop on everyone's track until they don't even want to rap with me anymore.
Yeah, but you gotta realize, nigga, we only care about you rapping with like 3 other people. Like the other niggas, who cares? What? No, because you're saying Poppy is shit, but he's like, when we talk about a Cole, like the only couple people that matter when we're talking about the level that he's at. So
what do you mean?
So I mean, if we're not talking about him in line with like that top 5 and how he's matching up to them.
So what's the top 5?
But that's what I'm saying. Him popping his shit, yeah, he's been top 5. Now I want to hear him pop his shit being the best. You get me? Not just in the mix. We've always thought he's been in the mix. I want him to pop kind of, like if you're going to pop your shit and kind of own that moment, yeah, do it as I'm the best, something he shot away from before. And he said he shot, like he's like, I don't care about it.
He's saying that now on the song, though. He is saying that now on the song.
That's what I'm saying. So like when I'm listening to that, I don't think he's really caring about these other niggas because he's been levitated above their level. Yeah, I'm looking at it from the perspective I'm looking at it, and that's why I'm glad he even, he addressed Drake in terms of how people viewed like him and Drake, because people wanted to pit them against each other. It's like, nah, we could still both coexist, but still I could be that nigga too. You feel me?
Yeah.
And I like how he owned that moment.
Well, I think that him like getting out there with his peers, or like another thing is what people hasn't been talking about is just his mentorship, right? Think about the game. I mean, look at what 21 is. Like when 21 first came out, I didn't think that he'd be as big as he is today, but look where he's grown to, and think about the mentorship that he could possibly give to a 21. Where 21 already had displayed his own growth within himself and his brand, but him being around Cole, that type of information they could share. Even down to him, like nobody's talking about that. Like, or even him being around Moneybagg Yo. Okay, we see a picture, but he did a song. But this motherfucker put Young Thug on his tour. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many things that's been happening with Cole that people did not expect. And I think they gotta just give him a little, like, we gotta get on his Soulja Boy shit, give him his credit.
That's the thing, people doubt him, and I think that's why this song is amazing. It's like he can do all of this stuff. Yeah, he didn't want to do it for a couple of years because he was going through whatever, he wanted to fall back. But I don't think any real fans question that he could ever do this. But I guess people like you did.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, people like you.
And I don't mean it disrespectfully, but that's what a lot of the song is about. People who are counting him out just because he fell back a bit. Not a wave.
No. Well, he dropped the record. He kind of has his mentality changed. Me, I'm judging him among, like, Kendrick, he hibernating right now. I want to see him. I want to see his efforts and the way he's coming match the other people.
So what would he have
level.
to do this year for you to feel like he's
up.
in the top 3? Just keep this momentum.
This up. Yeah,
okay.
you gotta keep this up because you see right now he's the type of nigga he'll do this for 2 more months and disappear.
The thing is, you just want him to be ever present, like a lot of artists are. Like you want him to be dropping song after song.
Yeah.
Well, but guess what though? Without even this song, just him doing those revenge sessions with the Dreamville shit.
Yeah.
They had the whole entire world is excited and nobody heard no music. I heard Ross ain't even rap. Like he just went there and niggas is like, oh my God. Like so what it showed was like how, I think that's a crazy case study because what it showed is how perception is reality. Because everybody's seen all of these pictures and they heard all the songs in their mind, right? Like they heard all these songs in their mind and then he comes with this. Maybe this is off the Revenge project.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think that he's gonna drop an album first. I think he'll probably do the Revenge project, then an album. But he got me excited. He got my attention with this shit.
Yeah, I'm excited.
The skeptic over
You
here.
look so excited.
No, bruh.
No, I
so
understand where you're
excited.
coming from.
Yo,
I get it. I
I
get it.
need a fucking sicko mode act for
I'm
Cole,
excited.
man.
It's just that, like, listen, I want this guy, like, I want him to compete for that #1, bro. I don't want to be, like, he's always, like, every time I hear Cole, like, I'm one of the only people who actually like For Your Eyes Only. KOD, I thought that should have gotten nominated for a Grammy. So I always think he's in that mix. I just like when the people in that mix, this is rap, this is a competitive sport, and it's a contact sport. I like when he owns the moment. I like when he's talking about, yo, if I ever get into it, like, I ain't gonna lie, like, again, I agree with him. I don't wanna just see him just trying to rap battle or go at people for no reason. Right. But I feel like, yo, all our legends gotta be battle tested, bro. All of them.
All right, so you just want to know that he can engage. And
yeah, I want to see you in the arena, man. It's a gladiator sport.
Heard you.
I don't want to see you just playing with a sword like in practice. No, nigga.
Wow. Well, some people are always gonna feel the way that you can't please everybody.
Yo,
right?
what's going on with Wayno, man? The Fire Festival fucked him up. Man, while he sips water.
That's tea, it's not water.
It's tea.
Not doing anything for no water.
Oh, man. All right, so Pusha got everyone thinking again yesterday. He hopped on Twitter and says, you tried, you failed. I'm hearing you want to try again. This time I'm not going to play with you, any of you. I mean, of course, everyone's going to immediately assume that he's talking about Drake. Or do you guys have an alternative theory? Oh,
I have no idea what the fuck Pusha's talking about. And I want, like, you know, because everybody knows that we cool, so they think, they know that's my homie.
Damn, you got to
so.
give the disclaimer every time how we should just get you
sometimes I feel a way that I don't know. Like, I'm like, damn, like.
It's cool with him, man. Maybe
yeah, it's like, what's good, my nigga? Like, let me know.
You say he had a nice dinner with Pusha, then Pusha dropped the track on Drake and tell
and I ain't even know. I didn't know till I found out when everybody else found out. But, I mean, I think the easy target is Drake, but I don't know what he's talking about. You know what I mean? I don't know what he's talking about at all. I mean, what else could he be talking about? I don't know.
Ak, you talk to Obs?
The way he just said that answer, he probably does know. Yo,
I don't. I really don't. Yo, I really don't.
I'm gonna ask Drake why Pusha's tweeting. What the fuck?
Right.
like you have any boundaries?
No, honestly, I do. This is 100% Drake. Come on, man. Like, you have to be like, we gotta connect use some common sense to connect 2 + 2 to make 4. This is about Drake. I don't know what Pusha heard behind the scenes. Like, should I try to hit people up? Like, yo, y'all hearing something coming? Y'all hearing Drake about to come with a track? Is there other?
So you think this tweet is meant to scare Drake away? Like, literally warn him, don't do whatever it is you're trying to do, or?
No, I think Pusha,
it's already happening?
I think Pusha's thirsty for Drake to try to do some shit. Because I think he knows he got that nigga's number. Like, I don't think he's trying to scare him away. No, bring it. I'm just giving you the little warning. This is the warning before I fuck you up again, and then they call me the bad guy. So I think Pusha is ready for whatever it is, but I think I don't know how he would have got that information, or some people loosely said maybe he was referring to J. Cole kind of getting Drake's back on the Middle Child track because he loosely sent some bars at Ye with the sneaker line. And
but like we said, he's done that before to Kanye. Sent some loose lines and Pusha didn't care then.
But again, I think grasping for straws. We don't exactly know what it is.
I think he's still bullying Kanye. Do you feel like he's still being
Who?
I'm just saying, dude, like, because it's like Kanye ain't even in the top.
J. Cole ain't
like,
bullying Kanye.
I'm just saying, do
like
you think
Drake bullying Kanye?
Overall, like, you think he's like...
Well, Drake bullying Kanye. J. Cole is just like kind of throwing some light jabs at him. You feel me? But honestly, I think more will be revealed about this. Hopefully it's not no track. I don't want to hear no more music. But I also was thinking, we saw what happened in Toronto.
What?
Yeah,
I'm hoping there's no record that's coming from Drake or Drake and someone directed at Pusha.
Why?
What do you mean why? Like we saw that.
You
shit
just said rap is a contact sport and you like the
yeah,
contact.
and you got knocked the fuck out.
Oh, so it's over now?
It's over. Leave it alone. Like leave it alone.
See, he said it. You know what I mean? Like, I just wanted to know that he said it.
If you ain't dropped that record back then, I hate a salty nigga, bruh. Like yo, you were in the fight. Don't tell me what you could have done. You could have ducked. No.
Well,
don't
you know
come
that.
back later.
But at the same time, I do respect like, so. I think that Drake, because he takes so many pages out of like Hove's book, he will like throw things that like he might throw shit out there, but it might not be totally direct. Like the same way when Jay, you know, Ether happened, and then Jay made the song Blueprint 2, and then Nas made Last Real Nigga Alive. Those were still diss songs to each other, but they were subbing each other. You know what I mean? So I think that Drake Drake is really great at subs, like OD. So I think that he might just throw little shit out there, but I don't think they're gonna jump right back into a whole. We've seen this happen already.
I hope Pusha doesn't Kanye himself.
What you mean?
How could he possibly Kanye himself?
Well, that term might sound extreme, considering how Kanye's acting, but like, seems so consumed and obsessed with something that it seems one-sided. Because
I don't think
because
Do you feel like he seems like that right now? Do people think that? He's consumed and obsessed?
It's starting to feel like it for me.
I mean, we don't know
Because of his tweet?
No, because what Drake is good at is whatever he's doing, you don't see. Whatever he's doing to Kanye, you don't see. You see the other person responded. Mm-hmm. We see the Toronto thing happen. Pusha says, that nigga said, and by the way, I was also thinking about that because he says you and other people. So I don't know if he's going back to Toronto. Who knows what's going on? Anyway, he blamed that on Drake, right? Which, who knows, right? The Weeknd drops a song. Pusha is like quote tweeting it. That song contained disses about son, like kind of had a reference to Drake's son.
Okay.
Right? Pusha's quote tweeting that. Now we see this that we're all connecting again to Drake. We're not seeing Drake say anything about this guy. Now is Drake probably actively doing some shit behind the scene, like we've said, like in the Kanye shit? Mm-hmm. Probably, but it doesn't seem like he's bothered or focused on it at all because we don't see anything. So that's why we look at Kanye and we're clowning this thing like, yo, what are you talking about? Now, I believe
it's different
Kanye
with
is
Pusha, right?
fucking with it.
Kanye does a lot of things that makes us laugh. I feel like people don't look at Pusha the same way they look at Kanye, especially right now.
But with Pusha, like most of these stuff, anytime he's having any type of reaction or response to anything that may be connected to Drake, it blows up. You get me? So I'm just saying, of course, Kanye is far down the river, but you don't want it to seem like, okay, the beef is over and like you're still very much focused on it while the other person seems unbothered. Whether that's the case or not. It's just about public perception.
No, I understand. I just feel like Pusha hasn't really said much about it recently, but this tweet is clearly like him trying to say something's happening behind the scenes. I want people to know you're provoking
when I saw him quote tweet the Weeknd shit, I was like,
okay.
It's like, Pusha, you won, bro. Like, why? I mean, maybe he's just genuine like the Weeknd song. I'm like, he was laughing at some of the bars that was aimed at Drake. Okay. Like Drake's son. And clearly we know like he was instrumental in getting
Why would Weeknd do, well, I didn't hear the song, but why would Weeknd do something like that?
Didn't they fall out? They fell out too.
I'm out to fucking
I heard they beefing over girls. Like, that's facts.
Wow, that's crazy.
Drake beefing everybody, man. Drake beefing with Wayno.
No, he's not. Don't do that.
Drake beefing with Wayno, man.
And nobody's beefing with me, man. Nobody's beefing with me.
Yo, Wayno, 2019, man. This should have been your New Year resolution, man. We gonna get Drake to unblock you.
I don't care about that, man. Stop talking. Could you stop? Listen. Wayno said he was like, you know, when you scroll down for the page to refresh, and it kept saying user not found. No, we talked about that.
This is how the bullshit starts.
That's the first time. You have a lot of influence, so I don't want you to make people think that every day in the green room I'm like, damn, man.
Wayno made a new account to check Orb's page, bro. Like you be like, yo, let me go to my Finsta real quick. I can see what Drake posted.
Yo, you got to stop, dog. You have to stop.
Oh my God.
It's crazy.
All right, so we'll see what happens with this. Maybe this tweet is the end of the story, period.
Yeah.
Unless someone's still texting purple demon emojis. You never know, we'll find out soon enough. All right, so we got a little mini act by the numbers segment, I guess, right now. So Complex did a nice little report saying Youngboy Never Broke Again has actually been on YouTube US's top artist chart for the past 101 weeks. He's doing really well. So that's 19 consecutive weeks. He's been the most watched artist across all genres. So he has an average of like 8 million global views per day over the past month. That's pretty incredible.
That's insane.
Numbers, man. Does this excite you?
You know, I think this is why Youngboy is like such an enigma to, I think, fans, especially when album sales come back around. Because, you know, album sales, it consists of YouTube stream and Apple Music, Tidal, Spotify numbers, along with like even sales, digital sales on iTunes. But Youngboy does really well on YouTube for whatever reason, like his music. Clearly, he's been number one for the last 16 weeks. But then his record sales will come back and it's not as impressive as the number one for 16 weeks. So I don't know, maybe just
the pure sales or like the streams? Because he's like a top streamed artist, though, right?
He does well in streams but he's like the way he dominates on YouTube. He doesn't dominate. Like we can't equate it to how he dominates on other platforms.
So is that a multitude of maybe like people just going to listen to his music, or does he have like videos that motherfuckers?
I think it's both, because he has some big videos like what Genie's 171 million, Untouchable 154. But what's interesting also is that a lot of them are regional. So a lot of people from Dallas, Atlanta, Houston are streaming a lot of his content.
I had a conversation with somebody recently about Youngboy, and I said like, if he wasn't like in trouble so much, he could be such a like massive big artist. And it was like, but you also got to look at the fact that maybe it's because he gets in so much trouble that makes him so big, because everybody wants to see what's going on.
By the way, and you're right about that too. But by the way, about like these numbers and even the charts, like, man, I've had a couple conversations with like people who, again, I do use this chart to kind of like figure out like where the algorithms probably on YouTube is working. But in reality, man, most of these niggas buying views, bro. I gotta keep it 100 with you. Like, when I look at that chart,
you think he buying views?
No, I'm not accusing him necessarily of buying views, but there's certain niggas on there. I'm not saying they don't do numbers. Like you'll see an artist, they'll drop a music video, and in 3 days, 4 days, you see 6, 7 million. Half of those views are bought.
You think the average fan can tell, like if they paid attention a little or not? Not at all.
No, because numbers. It's since the beginning of time, at least when it comes to music business. You're influenced to think something's hot based on inflation. So if you see some shit, you'll gravitate towards it because you feel other people are.
That's why so many artists, well, I don't even call them artists, that's why so many personalities are getting record deals now, because they can garner so many hits doing something else, and then they're like, yo, you might as well just make a song or make a mixtape, and let's sell that. But I mean, for Youngboy, that's impressive, but I do get what you're saying about a lot of people buying views, but the real thing is there's no engagement. Like, you see a person who will get 150, 180,000 likes, and then when they post something like for a show that they're doing, it won't be the same engagement, right? Like, because certain people engage with certain artists for certain things. They might like looking at you, but they might not want to come see you or even want to hear you so much. So numbers tell a lot. But
so I think buying those numbers essentially on YouTube only is supposed to do what? Just make other fans think you're hot so more people come check for it? Because it's not like someone's listening to it and going to tell their friend, go check this out, right? If it's fake views, then what?
Let's even take it off YouTube. I know it's for a fact. When there's certain labels, I don't know if they still do it now, but there's certain labels, when you sign to that label, automatically off the rip, they get you 500,000 extra Instagram followers. All fake. But that does encourage fans to feel like you're blowing up.
So they're missing out on something.
So every month you're getting 200,000 followers. People are
inclined to. That's insane if you could really pull that off, though. Like, for people who can.
This is facts. There's like, again, I ain't gonna tell on nobody. I respect the
Don't worry,
hustle.
J. Cole just told us to.
Nah, there's specific names. You know what I mean? But like, these labels, they're paying people to hack the fucking Explore page. Like, they're manipulating all this digital shit that a lot of times what you see, the only time you can verify if numbers are kind of real is if you see the crossover effect. Yeah, okay, so you're getting this number here, you also get on that platform, it translates to your music, you know what I mean?
Otherwise, your shows.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, your interviews.
Because otherwise, like, how do you really gauge it?
Right.
Like, there's someone, I know somebody with 5 million Instagram followers with 20,000 Twitter followers.
Yeah, it don't make sense.
It don't make sense. Like there's a bunch of shit going on.
But there's also,
even though it's a different audience, different demographic.
It's a different audience because it's like, you know, with IG, it's more about what you see. With Twitter, a lot of people don't want to see what you have to say.
Yeah.
They don't want to read about what you have to say. And or like their page is just set up generically through the label where it's just tweeting out links. That's not exciting. So a lot of times that's not gonna encourage people to come follow you. But I think if artists figure out more ways how to run like all their shit concurrent, it's like you have to have a certain personality on Twitter. You have to have a certain personality on IG. You have to have a certain personality on IG Live. You know what I mean? In order to get the engagement. But you're right. Like if you're not turning it into people really engaging with you and talking under your comments, that's another thing that bugs me out. You ever see somebody who has like 50,000 likes but they have 200 comments? That makes no sense.
Right.
You know what I mean? 'Cause so you mean to tell me 50,000 people like this picture, but less than half of the people have something to say about it? It makes no sense. But the reason why they buy all of that shit is because perception is reality. You know, you can go get you could go get them clubs bags. That's what Russ was talking about. Motherfuckers is buying these followers and doing all that just to go get a club bag where you only there because people's not really there to see you. They just there to hear good music and hear you do 4 songs.
Is this like Firefest? Does it blow up at a certain point in a couple of years, or do you think this can just keep going for the next decade?
It's gonna get worse.
Okay.
Yeah, well, the hard thing for like all these like services and like YouTube, which is developing their own streaming service, YouTube Music. Like,
when is that dropping?
I mean, they kind of have it out. I think it's either in beta. Like, I mean, I got a link. I mean, I'm in it.
Of course, they got the free year.
But like, what happened is that they have to kind of counterfeit and fight the like all this number manipulation shit. Like, how do you deal with that? Like, you know, streaming services. Shit, sometimes we've seen title in the news like, hey, are some of the numbers real? Shit, Spotify's been in the news, are some of the numbers real? It's really hard to figure out, are the numbers getting manipulated? And how do you still try to hold some type of integrity to it?
Because I think at the end of last year, YouTube had to wipe out a ton of fake accounts, right? I was reading something the other day that, up to like 50% of the people on the internet are fake. They're all bots.
What's crazy is that imagine how many streams, if NBA Youngboy is doing all of this, right? Imagine what he would be doing if you could close the YouTube app and your shit still plays. Like that shit would probably quadruple or something, because that's a big thing.
That's why you gotta get YouTube Music. You can do it then.
Yeah, but then people is like, why am I gonna? I'm already paying for Apple or Tidal or Spotify. Now they gotta catch up to YouTube Music. Well, how much is it a month?
It's like $9.99.
All of them is like 10.
Yeah.
And to further explain that point I was making earlier about like the numbers manipulation and shit, and that's why like I look at the YouTube numbers because those charts are new. It's much newer. And it's much more open to manipulation than like say like a Spotify or like a Apple Music, which like since they don't even really put out their numbers like that. Their numbers are only audited by like Nielsen. But YouTube, they have this front facing like you could see what the numbers is. I was talking to this artist, and like he's a pretty young artist, super social media savvy. And we're talking about him and his other peers, like their social media numbers recently. And he was talking about, certain people, they're losing followers, including him, for the last couple of days. Now, Instagram made this announcement saying, all y'all niggas with fake accounts, we clapping them, all right? We gonna get him. So he was kind of confused, but he said to me, he said, honestly, if I had to really explain why I'm losing followers, nothing I'm doing. It's because Instagram is deleting the fake followers.
Yeah, that happened one time before.
Oh yeah, people lost millions.
Well, I lost
It was happening day by day, but you know what he explained it to? He said, I signed a deal with this company to promote like this. I had a song that was popping, and I think they bought me fake followers.
That's crazy.
They didn't even let me know. But like just seeing how shit is going now.
Yeah.
Because his engagement got higher, but he was losing followers. Because Instagram was deleting the rest of the shit.
Yeah.
So the numbers manipulation now, man, this shit is like out this world, man.
It's not going nowhere.
Like, trust me.
So maybe they're just gonna keep doing this more often than having to wipe all these bots off the internet. It seems like it. They're getting a lot more pressure to deal with it.
Hey, listen, if all I care about, like for example, even the YouTube charts, as long as him being #1 with those, was it 50-something million views for the week or whatever it is, as long as that translates to money, congratulations to that man.
Yeah, seriously. All of that said, Youngboy never broke again doing his thing. So shout out to him.
Yeah, as long as if it was fake views, if there's no money with it, I'd be mad. But if it's real money, shit, nigga, you eating.
All right.
The fact that it's regional, I think, is a good sign. Seems like he has a thriving fan base, like in an area.
But actually, like I think that's a whole different conversation
also,
too.
he's really good. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like,
no, he's hella good.
He's really good. Like I ain't gonna front. Like I listened to a few of his projects, and he reminds me of like all the Hot Boys in one. Like he reminds me of all of them. And like he has elements of like all of them. Like, and I'm talking about Lil Wayne, but I'm not talking about lyrical Lil Wayne. I'm talking about like fresh. The block is hot Lil Wayne. He got like BG shit with him. So I think that's why people really like him a lot, because his perspective, he be talking about some real shit. His perspective is crazy for him to be so young. So that's a big thing too, why people are engaging, you know?
Yeah, nah, I fuck with Youngboy.
Yeah. So one of the albums we were expecting late last year, but we never got, was the Offset project, of course. So he did a feature with Esquire magazine recently talking about it. So he did say that he wanted to hold off on the project, so we got a more vulnerable album. What do you guys think about that? Good move for him? Because I mean, the skeptical man, here he comes. But the two Migos albums we got, they were cool, but people didn't like stick for too long. So maybe it's a good thing that he held off, right?
Austin need to tell the truth, man. Cardi B pushed that shit back. That's facts. Okay. He was
still probably for the best though.
Probably for the well. I'm hoping his vulnerability is him addressing certain things that was probably already in the media around the time when the album should have dropped. Because I'm watching this nigga walking around at Fashion Week. I'm like, ain't this nigga promised us an album? He's just walking around and he's like modeling at Fashion Week in Paris. But the vulnerability, I can't imagine the vulnerable Offset flow that we're gonna get.
The vulnerable Offset
for
flow.
real.
Why you gotta say it like that?
That we're gonna get and shit.
It's not the flow, it's the content.
By the way, who knows? That might be his 444, where he's basically saying, "Man, I fucked up, bro. You never know. I fucked up, man. Not on some like giving game shit, but like, yo, you know that Jay-Z made like, I'm sorry beat." Yeah.
I don't know if I see Offset making one of those right now.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna make that.
Maybe there's somewhere.
How else can he be vulnerable? Like vulnerable about his pain? Like
no. Honestly,
drip? No.
Damn, dog. Nah, honestly, I feel like just one Offset 4 or 5 years ago, this nigga was in jail. He's walking runways in Paris. So first and foremost, salute to that man, because you never finish where you start, right? And then secondly, I think that the vulnerability, of course he's gonna talk about the shit with Cardi on a few records, but I think he's also gonna be talking about just him being a dad. That's not Offset first kid. He got a few kids, so I'm pretty sure that he's going through different things relationship-wise in his life that he can address. It's not all about Cardi.
Well, nigga been rapping about the fucking Cuban links and VVS's and the drip for all his career. I could only imagine that the only thing that, the thing that pushed his album back, the big storyline that's gonna make him start being vulnerable, that's gonna be a big part of what he talks about. But of course, like I could imagine, maybe he tries to express thoughts about all his kids and all of his life situation. That would be interesting, because the way the Migos rap is very braggadocious. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how you become vulnerable.
I mean, we're already seeing it play out in the public, right? We're seeing it on Instagram, we're seeing it on Twitter. So it's not like it's gonna be a shock if he's talking about his relationship and all those struggles. It just will be cool to hear it in his own words, how he's feeling about it.
But sometimes, you know, certain artists, like, we've never seen him capture maybe to the level that I'm thinking of, that deep of emotion in records.
But I'm saying it doesn't have to be to the level you're thinking. Like 444 it took Jay-Z a long time to get to that project, right?
Yeah,
I'm sure Offset can find a middle ground somewhere, you know, where he gives us more of himself, but doesn't feel
Akademiks
uncomfortable.
says Offset is coming with the
333, man. Migos! Okay?
Fuck that.
Oh my
Hey,
God.
man, when's Culture 3 dropping, man? I'm here for all
You
of that.
didn't even want it. What are you talking about? You said it was enough.
It's a new year. Fuck it, I'm ready now, man. I'm ready.
That was a month ago. You were saying you had enough
one
albums.
big release so far as Future. Okay, QC, bring all the truckload albums.
Yeah, say that now, and then in 2 weeks you're complaining again.
Yeah, you're gonna be, man, this is too much. I can't take it.
So annoying. All right, so he also talked about the government shutdown, which you've heard Cardi B address a lot. So he said said, quote, we're going through a fucked up time, both sides, black and white, because the government is shut down. Black people aren't working, white folks aren't working, it's everybody. So he goes on to say, like, when he goes overseas, he realizes how they glamorize the U.S. We have all the cars, the money, the girls, the celebrities, but our country's not in a good state right now. He says, this is not supposed to be going down, not in America. We've got our chest out, we got the money, et cetera, et cetera. Offset basically wants the government to get their shit together.
Yo, you know how crazy this is, man? Yo, we sitting here discussing Offset. Like,
what would Offset be thinking at a time like this?
Yeah, like, yo, like, Offset is like our new, like, Offset and Cardi B are our new hip-hop political pundits.
Because when you grow up poor, you understand what it is. We got a rich president. He's never been broke. He says, seeing people talk about how they can't pay their bills, but they have to work, that's some slave shit. Hey, people are working for free. How crazy is that?
All right, hold on.
And he was in jail, so that's what I'm saying. I'm not knocking. Well, you know what it is? I'm not gonna lie. I'm not looking. Like, I'm not opening up the newspaper to see what Offset is saying, or I'm not going on the blog to see what Offset's saying.
But when he says it, will we not receive it?
No, in the context of where he put it, I respect it, because he said, like, for people to work and not, because they all come from poverty.
Right.
They all bought their mom's house.
We all know what it is to grow up poor.
Exactly. So it's like, I do respect what he's saying, and I respect his presence on it. It's just that, you know, sometimes people always try to shoot the messenger.
Which is fine, because then they complain that artists aren't politically active enough. You don't speak up for your community. You really can't win.
You can't win.
I don't think it's by surprise that Cardi B and Offset are speaking politically. I just don't.
You think it's just, this is upper management?
Yeah, what?
Is upper management orchestrating this?
Yeah, I do believe this is them expanding their brand and expanding, like, everything they're involved in. Like, I think both of them, and even though, like, I'm saying I don't really want to hear Offset, like, give me the breakdown on what's happening, you know what I mean, at the White House, but they're both making sense. Cardi B and Offset, they made very reasonable points that for a regular person.
Yes, you aside, the average Migos fan.
Right.
You don't think it's good for them to hear him say this, even if you don't personally care?
I don't even think this reaches out to them. I think that, like, I seen Cardi B being championed and discussed on political channels and shows that she would have never been, like, she would never even be in discussion for at all, ever. But it's kind of like, it's expanding. It's expanded, but I'm not only saying that they're only doing it to further their career, because I do believe where they came from. Yeah, they mean what they came from. They mean what they say, but I don't think it's random that Offset is in Esquire speaking about politics, and Cardi B is commenting and really narrating the government shutdown. I just don't think it's random.
All right, whatever motivation you think there is,
I don't know.
there. Either way, it's good. It's definitely not a bad thing that they're doing it, right?
Yeah,
because we're in trouble right now, and it's
like,
nice to have the people we look up to speak
bad
out
motives
to.
done like that? No.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of artists are scared to do it because they don't want to lose deals and branding. So if they're doing this to further their brand while other people are scared to do it to hurt their brands, I'll take it.
I can appreciate it, because, you know, and especially from, like, the political side and those journalists, they will attack them immediately, you know, and say, well, what do you know about government, and what do you know, and, you know, and people working and being disenfranchised. Like yesterday, I went and got some knowledge yesterday about the legalization of marijuana in New York. And not only, so people could smoke it or sell it, but legalization does not stop discrimination. Like, there's still, in New York's history, I don't know if it's history, but I learned the number was like 800,000 people have been sentenced for marijuana in New York. And now they saying, oh, no, it's cool. So it's like, but that doesn't change. That
They're
doesn't
not getting
expunge.
out.
Nobody's getting their records expunged. All these different things. So I think when it comes to politics and just, you know, justice reform, all of that, it affects everybody in different ways. And if a person like Offset, if he can speak to, it might not reach every Migos fan, but if it reaches his neighborhood and it means something to the people in his neighborhood, that might say, you know what, I need to get more well versed and what's going on so I can make a difference.
Or at least you know the fundamentals, right? I think none of us are really like super tuned into C-SPAN, watching like those you know what I mean? That kind of thing. But if they could break it down, like Cardi was like, the government shut down. I know what you guys are going to say. You're going to be like, oh, but Obama did this, but he did it so you guys could go to like the gynecologist. She's going to say it in her Cardi B way and keep it very simple. And I think it's important that they give us the fundamentals, because that's what's really most important, right? We don't need to know all the nitty-gritty details necessarily.
Yeah. Just need to know what applies to you mostly, and how and what you can learn to make a difference.
How it affects you daily and people that you love daily, because that's only when it matters to people.
Yeah, we ain't no fucking superheroes that could just turn the world around. So it's like,
I personally think Meek inspired all this.
Makes sense.
I think Meek showing that he could be a rapper and still care about certain things that are you know, like, yeah, it affects the community, but like that's not the glamorous part of his like career and shit like that. But he can still have an opinion. He can still go hard for it, and also is very close to home because where he just came from. Yeah, I feel like it empowers other people to make these statements. Shit, we might see Cardi B or Offset on one of these political shows.
That's great.
Maybe not debating, but just giving their opinion.
Right.
And you can't knock it.
Sure. Yeah, and speaking of Meek, so him and Jay Z started a criminal justice reform organization called Reform Alliance. So now the organization's mission is to advance criminal justice reform and outdated laws that perpetuate injustice, starting with probation and parole. So again, like Ak is saying, based on all the things that Meek went through with his legal issues recently, he's really waving the flag, and you know he's out here with Jay trying to make some changes. So applause to them.
Yeah, I think that this is really important, and it kind of rolls back into the whole time when I was saying that I felt like Meek was gonna be one of the greats, and we was talking about like actions, like, basically saying off the court, like, you know, like not just your music, but all the energy you have that make you who you are. And he's doing a lot, because you got to think, if this judge really has a vendetta for him, she still has to see all this shit every day. And he's putting himself on the line, and not only he could really just be chilling with Robert Kraft talking about how can he invest in a football team, or how could he just do things to get money, and he's doing something that's making a difference in a lot of people's lives. I watched a little bit of a documentary where this guy said he was on probation, he got his GED or parole, he got his GED in prison, came home, was doing his thing, trying to get back into society. He made a U-turn and got sent back to prison for 90 days. That's insane.
Wow.
Just for making a U-turn. You know, just for making a U-turn. He's like, they don't even give a traffic, I think he said, like, I didn't even get a traffic ticket for it, but I got sent back to prison for 90 days, so. It's great what Meek is doing.
Yeah, and so part of it is kind of what you're saying, people getting locked up for like minor offensive for a long time. So there's something called the First Step Act, which was passed recently. So the goal of this is to reduce the number of people in prisons over the next 10 years. So it's like a very focused initiative, which is really dope. So again, shout out to them for that. All right, so before we go, we're gonna do at least one fan question. It's really been a while. I think we haven't done it all year, right, since we've been back. All right, so we have one from Siobhan. The question is, can you be a rapper if you come from a rich or high middle class family? It seems like most rappers come from a poor childhood. Some might be lying.
Yeah, I think you definitely could be a rapper, but one thing about when you speak about, because it sounds like he's being very distinctive in what a rapper's talking about. I think like, just because you got money don't mean that you can't rap about the struggle, or you can't talk about the struggle in some sort of context, because there's people who are rich that still go all over the world to help people that are in lower positions than them. So I think it's just how you articulate it. Now, it depends on what you're talking about. If we watch you grow up and you start talking some street shit, you talk some tough shit, and that's not you at all, I think you out of line. But if you're an artist and you know who you are and you're talking about, you know, the hood, you have some perspective, because a lot of these artists who did come from those places, their families came from the hood. Their dads or their moms came from poverty and grew to becoming millionaires and shit. So you got to have some sort of perspective.
Interesting. They gave Tyga a hard time a few years ago, and they found out he was from like a nice suburban family or something, although there's no problem with that. Ak, what do you think?
Listen, in hip hop, it's just always easier to package struggle. And when you don't have no struggle, or what your struggle is, people can't identify. I mean, even like, look at Logic. Like, Logic to him, he has a struggle. We just be listening to it like, bro, we just can't identify with it.
But is that because of class, or is that because he looks like he's completely white?
I'm just talking about struggle in general, right? But so I didn't mean to use him in that context in terms of like high class or middle class or whatever. But for the rappers who are like they're well off before they start rapping,
like a Jaden Smith.
Yeah.
Or whatever, like, we were talking about this yesterday, the Lil Romeo, the Diggy Simmons of the world.
Go ahead.
For them, they have to package their struggle differently than other people. It's just that they seem to always try to, like, Tyga try to relate or try to like almost copy what other people's struggle was initially. When we were looking at him like, nigga, that's not you. You get me? Like, you didn't come up from that.
So it's what Wayno's saying. You just have to be authentic then.
Yeah, just be authentic.
Don't fake the struggle.
Yeah, but I think like the thing is that people really have to reevaluate what all this struggle and shit means, because again, if you're rich, do not think that everything is just gonna be easy. Like, you know, people who are rich have plenty bills and a lot of responsibilities, especially being a property owner. There's all types of things that go into that. It's not an easy thing. My biggest thing when it comes to this whole struggle thing is niggas be thinking that struggling is their mom not being able to buy them a pair of Jordans. That's not struggling. Like if you have, now definitely if you have shoes and they're too tight because they was your brothers and you got corns on your feet and you got holes in them, that's a different story. But if you got a pair of sneakers just like everybody else and they just wasn't the most expensive ones and you got a roof over your head and you got heat and you got food, stop talking about how hard you had it. Because there's so many people who
are living check to check.
Not only living check to check, but I seen Pharrell say one time, he's like, Diggy Simmons was interviewing him. And he asked him, what do you say to people who say they come from nothing? And he was like, I think people have to reevaluate what nothing is. Because a lot of us may think we have nothing, but if you go to different parts of the world, which everybody doesn't get the privilege to travel, but if you go to different parts of the world and you see the shit that they don't have, the things that we complain about, we like, what the fuck is wrong with us? You know what I'm saying? So I think we really have to take a look in the mirror and reevaluate what nothing is, what struggle is, and understand that if you're an artist and you're gonna articulate the struggle, just make it relatable. Make it, make it real, make it relatable. Make sure that people can identify it. Even if you're speaking for somebody else, make sure that you're saying it in a way where they can appreciate it.
Most of these niggas on here, like, that I'm thinking about, the Tigers or whatever, like, little Romeo, Diggy Simmons, and whatever, like, can't come, bro. Honestly, when I be listening to their music, sometimes they don't be having no substance. So
there's a difference between substance and struggle too.
But a lot of people use struggle for substance.
Okay.
You get me? Now you could have substance without struggle. Like, to be honest, you could relate that to it could honestly, I think most of the struggle for these people or for these dudes is like the struggle of being underneath someone else's shadow. That's a real struggle.
That's a real struggle.
That's a real struggle.
Absolutely.
Like trying to be unique when everybody keeps comparing you to your father or where you came from, or like being in a surrounding that maybe is just not you. Now a lot of times like people don't want to hear it, like, dog, you rich. Rap about your riches. Everybody rapping about how they living well off. Right. Even the niggas that ain't living well.
Yeah, of course.
So for those artists, like, I think, I don't know if they consciously think about it, like, yo, where could I find that unique approach and really express myself in a way that will probably have me last? Or shit, all right, I'm rich, my dad rich. Let me just tell people what it's like to be rich. Where everybody in their raps is almost rich.
Well, I also don't want to downplay like Tiger only because shit, we watched Tiger go through some struggles. You know what I mean? Like seriously, like being on Young Money and expressing that he did not want to be there or he wasn't getting paid or whatever the case may have been, and him making hit records. I mean, when you look at Young Money as a whole in totality, when it was Wayne. It was just Wayne, Nicki, Drake, or Wayne, Drake, Nicki, and everybody else. And then Tiger ended up becoming something now. Of course, he's not as big as a Nicki or a Drake, but he was able to rise from that shit. And I know that wasn't easy for him. So I don't want to, because that's a struggle within itself. And I know he probably has moments where he might have doubted himself and might have not wanted to push through. But if he can say that and articulate it a certain way, hell yeah, like everybody can relate to being counted out. That was the whole thing I was saying with Soulja Boy.
Yeah.
Like, that video, to me, it wasn't so much about what he had did. I just was like, damn, dog, I know what it feel like when when people change on you and people doubting you and you start to question yourself like, damn, did I really fuck up?
Yo, Wayno, who called you washed up, man? Somebody called Wayno washed up.
I've been counting, no, bro, you gotta remember, and I'm not saying this as no bragging point, bro. I didn't graduate from high school. So I had to work 5 times as hard as every man next to me just to barely make it. And I've exceeded a lot of expectations that was put on me. It's not specific to any music shit or nothing. I'm just saying in life. So when you can get past these things and you can win, it's like, yeah, nigga, you know what I mean?
With Tiger, I feel like, as your career goes along for any artist, like, there's struggle within that. The struggle of not, like, if you came out with a hit, trying to recreate that hit and seeing people give up on you, all that. Your Tiger's been through a lot of that. I think it's that initial, like, intro. Like I remember first seeing Kodak Black and just kind of hearing him, I'm like, damn, where'd he come from? You feel me? Like, and then you realize there's a bunch of people who relate to him, who kind of go through the same shit as him. A lot of these, what we're calling like upper class rappers that come in the game, like a lot of people can't relate to them off the bat. And then those first, like that first year or two, when they're supposed to be telling us their story, there's not much there. There's not much substance. So after that, we just kind of lose off it. But if you actually make it through that, like, there's always shit for you to rap about. Like, you don't have to be like your 5th year still rapping about, yo, you used to be broke.
Yeah,
no, like, yo, you rap about what's going on in your life currently.
Right.
But sometimes with these newer rappers, they just make the generic, yo, I'm lit, I'm in the club, and it's like,
it's cool to talk about being rich if you were once broke, but if you were born rich, no one's like looking at you.
I feel like a lot of rappers, they just set the bar very low for themselves. I feel like, you know, okay, if you're rich, right, and this kind of goes all the way back to J. Cole, right, because J. Cole, his struggle was coming from Fayetteville where it wasn't a big hip hop scene, coming to St. John's, waiting outside to rock the mic, meeting Mark Pitts, getting the Jay Z, all of that shit. And he rapped about Owen Sally Mae. I think that's what.
I know the thing that you can't identify with.
I cannot. But old Sally Mae. That's
oh, you do?
Because I didn't go to college, so I'm broke. But I seen people go through that struggle. You know what I mean? I've had friends, and you come into work and you be like, "What's wrong?" You like, "Damn, somebody died." Be like, "Nah, man, these niggas just took my whole check." Like, so that is a struggle. You know. So, but it's something that's real to him that relates to people, and that's why those same people that he was in college with, they grew. And he has the fan base that still supports him now to this day. So I think like when you're an artist and you coming in the game, you gotta identify your artist. But as you grow, you gotta want people to grow too. You can't say, all right, I come from the street, and then everything for the rest of your life is just only street. Cause then when street shit happen, you be like, nah, I don't want no parts of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you gotta be able to give the game, or if you're learning the game, to pass it down to them other brothers and sisters so that they could use it.
Hey, that's why like, of all these artists that were considered maybe in this category, the person I like the most is like Jaden Smith.
Yeah, no Jaden Smith slander on my watch.
Nah, Jaden is doing his thing.
Because I feel like he takes an artistic approach to it. He's not one of these niggas who come in and acting like they just did the underdog story by making it, while they made it off the fame of their daddy. And
just talk about living in the shadow. He has 2 super famous, super talented parents.
Yeah,
you know what
he
I
has
mean?
like his parents not normal. Like they're not regular. Like neither one of them. Like when you look at Jada's whole career, and then you look at Will's whole career, it's like damn. Like the thing is it's pressure within that too. That's why I respect Jaden Smith a lot because that's why LeBron said he didn't. The only thing he kind of regrets is naming his son LeBron James because the expectations that's put on you. Like Michael Jordan's son, like you know what it is to be Michael Jordan's son, the greatest nigga ever? Everybody's like, oh, we expect the highest level from you and everything because of who your father is, and you still got to be your own individual. So, no Jaden Smith slander, but if you coming from the hood or you not coming from the hood, just make sure that whatever you talk about is authentic to you.
So that was a very long answer to your question.
Yes.
A great answer. Thank you, gentlemen. So analytic you guys are. All right, and that's it. We made it.
Double P.
Hope you guys have an excellent weekend.
Look at Nadeska sneaks.
We're about to go sleep for 45 hours. I'm so tired.
Wow. She came correct today.
I don't know, Ak.
Today's
Have a good weekend. We'll see you guys Monday on Everyday Struggle.